Welcome to the Dose of Good podcast, where we celebrate good people and organizations working to make the world a better place. It can be easy to get caught up in the bad things going on in the world and forget about the good happening all around us each and every day. I'm your host, Erin, and I want to share these stories with you and give them the attention they deserve. I hope this podcast educates and inspires you and maybe even motivates you to share a dose of good in your community. Now let's get into today's episode. On today's episode, I speak with Maddy Hawkes, Miss Greater Derry, and prepare to be impressed because she is doing so many things, from being an entertainer to being an ambassador for the American Cancer Society, working for Catholic charities. She is doing so many things, but I'm not going to cover them all here. We will get into more detail in the episode. I hope you enjoy learning more about Maddy. Today I'm here with Maddy Hawkes, Miss Greater Derry. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Erin. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, great. You're welcome. So could we start by talking about your Miss New Hampshire scholarship program experience and how you initially got involved, and what has the experience been like for you so far?
It's been very unconventional. Many girls in the program, they've grown up around it. I had no idea it existed, honestly.
Oh, okay.
My first real encounter with the program was when I was a junior in high school. I was working at my very first job, which was also kind of unconventional, at a prom dress store called 125 Bridal and Plastow. Mm-hmm. They're a sponsor for the Miss New Hampshire program.
Okay.
And I remember I met Miss New Hampshire Lauren Percy at the time. I would help dress her for events. I would help dress the teen as well for events. I got them ready for Miss America too. It was so cool.
That's exciting.
And one summer afternoon, they came in. They were like, we have this pageant coming up, Miss Greater Plastow and Miss Greater Plastow's Outstanding Teen. We need one more teen contestant. Would you do it? And at first I was like, oh, I'm not so sure. Though I was very girly, I didn't have any interest in that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And my boss was like, well, you make money doing it, and I'll pay you overtime if you do it, and I'll help you with wardrobe and everything, so you don't have to worry about a thing. I was like, well, twist my arm.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Fast forward, I got first runner-up, made $800 that night.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah. I was like, wow, this seems pretty cool. It could help me pay off my student loans, down the line when I get to college. It took me 2.5 years to win my first title.
Okay.
So it was very, like I said, unconventional.
Yeah.
But I actually won the first local title after the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Which was such a cool experience. The first local competition after the pandemic for the entire Miss America organization.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And now I'm going into my 5th year competing at Miss New Hampshire. And last year at the state competition, I actually became debt-free from my undergraduate loans.
Oh, my goodness. That's incredible.
Yes.
And I think that's so important for people to know, because still, even though, I've had other title holders on, and if you're not in that world, I think sometimes people don't understand that they can get scholarship money and all of that to pay for schools. So that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. This year at Miss New Hampshire, Miss New Hampshire's teen, because the state competition combined last year and it's doing that again this year, we're giving away over $100,000 in scholarships.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it really shows that, even if you don't win the title, whether it's at the local or state level, you still make a lot of scholarship money. I mean, looking back, like I said, it took me 2.5 years to win my first local title 5 years ago. I was first runner-up at almost every single local competition that I participated in. And because of that, I was able to pay for most of my schooling going through my time at Plymouth State University.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really great. And Could you tell us a little bit about your public service initiative, Celebrate Everything, and maybe as you speak about it, just a little bit about why it's important to you?
Absolutely. My family has been heavily affected by cancer. My mom actually just celebrated being cancer-free.
Oh,
I believe, thank you. I believe this is year 7, if I
Okay.
remember correctly. So
Yeah,
it's been a
yeah.
minute, which is so wonderful to
Yeah.
be able to celebrate. But again, going back to the pandemic, that's when she was continuing to go through treatment. And at the time, since COVID was, affecting so many people and it's very dangerous, cancer patients were not allowed to have visitors during chemotherapy or any sort of treatment because when you go through chemo, you basically have no immune system.
Right.
So she had a therapy dog for like her first week of treatment there, and even he couldn't go visit.
Oh,
So
even the dog. Wow,
yeah, so
wow.
it was pretty heartbreaking, but it made me realize that, outside of the pandemic, there are people who are going through whether it's cancer treatments or any sort of other medical illness. They don't always have that support system. And so Celebrate Everything originally was rooted in my holiday drive that happens annually, Project Stocking, where we provide holiday stockings full of self-care items to cancer patients during the holiday season. Every year since she started treatment at Anna Jake's Hospital, we've been able to provide a holiday stocking for every single cancer patient.
Wow.
It included things like ginger chews, which people may not know, but is very important for cancer patients because it helps with the stomach sensitivity that comes with chemotherapy because it can be hard for them to keep down food. Things like lotions because your hands get dry from chemo, gas gift cards, grocery gift cards because, the medical bills unfortunately can add up. So we wanted to find ways to make that less of a burden on patients and their families. Since then, we have created partnerships with multiple colleges and universities. I worked with Plymouth State University, where I graduated from, Riviera University, and we've been able to create partnerships with the American Cancer Society as well. We also have been able to create other opportunities. So with that partnership with the American Cancer Society, we have been able to establish organizations on campus for colleges to encourage youth volunteers to get involved and help nursing students specifically and those who are looking to pursue careers in the medical field to understand that when it comes to patients, yes, it is your job to make sure that they feel better physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. You are 9 times out of 10 the only person that they'll see during their visit. So it's very important that you maintain that empathetic connection with them.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow, that's a
you.
lot
Yes.
under one umbrella. A lot of things you do. That's wonderful.
I'm a busy gal.
Yeah. And what is something that you've learned from being a part of the Miss New Hampshire Scholarship Program?
Everyone has a different background. I've had people who I've connected with through the program who have gone through things such as loss, abuse, mental struggles. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And it's so important that you continue to show up for others and you show up when it matters most, just like the mission with Celebrate Everything. And, it truly is a sisterhood. We continue to show up for each other in so many different ways. Tomorrow I'm going to the baby shower of one of my best friends who used to compete with me in the program.
Wow.
And I'm actually carpooling with another who is also pregnant.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, yeah. It's very much, we like to call it the sisterhood to bridesmaid pipeline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Very
everyone just
nice.
gets super close. It's really wonderful.
And that's great to hear. And I think it's important that those stories get shared because I think, sadly, people still have a misconception about what they conceive to be like pageants and that sort of thing. And that it's very catty and unfriendly. So it's nice to kind of just reiterate to people that it is a sisterhood and you make lifelong friendships and that sort of thing. So that's great.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, our current Miss New Hampshire, Zonthi Russell, she actually went to a little gathering of some of the other state title holders to kind of reconnect post Miss America and just spend time together, have fun, kick back, reconnect with each other. It's really great to see how close everyone is in this program.
That's awesome to hear. And it shows the closeness, the fact that, they had their Miss America experience, yet they're still traveling the country to spend time with each other and keep those connections going. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, you obviously were already hearing you're doing so many wonderful things, but I would like to ask you about some of your accomplishments, starting with the fact that you raised $300,000 for cancer research and support services. How did you achieve this?
It again goes back to when my mom was first diagnosed. We've always had this, I guess you could say, motto in our family where, yes, it's okay to feel those negative emotions, but at the end of the day, we should take those emotions and put it towards something good. So I remember I was scrolling through Facebook one day, saw on a Facebook group that the Southern New Hampshire Relay for Life were looking for extra volunteers. I was like, well, might as well throw my hat in the ring, see what this is about. I ended up being the youngest committee chair that year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at the ripe age of 19.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I have worked since then with 10 different Relay for Life events, 4 of them being collegiate, 2 Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walks, and I'm actually now committee members for those 2, as well as the Southern New Hampshire Relay. And then I actually had a really cool partnership a couple years ago in 2024 for the fiscal year. I worked with Miss America 2024, Madison Marsh. Mm-hmm. She had made headlines being a second lieutenant in the Air Force, and she also has her own nonprofit that is based around cancer.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Whitney Marsh Foundation, and it specifically works with people affected by pancreatic cancer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got to be the fundraising chair for that.
Wow.
It was all virtual stewardship because they're based in Arkansas, and obviously we're here in New Hampshire.
Right.
So it was really cool taking on that challenge.
Yeah.
So, with all of those initiatives combined, I've been able to support and help raise over $300,000.
That's amazing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for for doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just incredible. And just because I'm curious, so with the Madison Marsh, did she seek you out, or did you kind of reach out to her and say, hey, I'd like to help out with this kind of thing? Or
That is such a cool story.
Okay. Oh, great.
So I, since I started working within the Miss America opportunity, I've always had some sort of initiative towards cancer. It has become so well known throughout the community. Like the American Cancer Society and I have become official partners. They've reposted some of my content. Of course, I collaborate with them on stuff. And Madison had posted saying that she was looking for extra volunteers. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to since I'm in New Hampshire, but might as well throw in a little application.
Sure, yeah.
Dropped my phone number, and I forgot all about it. And then, a month later, I get a text on my phone from a number I don't recognize. She's like, hey, this is Madison Marsh. Do you have a second to call? And I'm not kidding. My mom was next to me. I fell out of my chair.
Oh, my goodness.
I was like, wait, Miss America texted me? That's
so
crazy.
exciting. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then the rest was history.
That's awesome. I love that you were able to share that story. And then you mentioned American Cancer Society. So I also wanted to ask about the fact that you were a 2025 National Ambassador for the American Cancer Society Gold Together, the only New England representative. And so for those who may not know, could you tell us a little bit about Gold Together and what being an ambassador entails?
Absolutely. It feels really cool and kind of patriotic to say that I'm the only ambassador from New England for that fiscal year.
Yeah.
So Gold Together is a subchapter of the American Cancer Society.
Okay.
And they focus on childhood cancer.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I actually had the opportunity to serve as an ambassador for a fiscal year where I would go around, promote the Gold Together program, work with different Relay for Life and ACS events to ensure that they had some sort of Gold Together aspect so that way we could represent all different types of cancers, including childhood cancer. And it actually led me to working on Capitol Hill last February.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I got to work with New England lawmakers, especially, the New Hampshire ones, of course, including Chris Pappas, which was super cool. His office has a dog in it, by the way.
Oh,
that
awesome.
was my
that
favorite
sounds like
thing.
Him.
Yeah,
I feel like that makes sense.
yeah, I'm not kidding. I walked in and I was greeted by a four-legged friend. I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever."
Yeah.
But I got to work with them on the Give Kids a Chance Act, which actually just passed.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy to hear because I had a guest on from Project Blackout, and prior to that, I hadn't really heard much about, childhood cancer. So I'm glad that you are also helping to not only raise awareness about it, but can you explain a little bit about what that act does?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple different aspects to it, but it's mostly just to make drugs for people affected by childhood cancer more accessible.
Oh, good. Okay.
I think that's something that we don't talk a lot about, in this time, especially like when my mom was going through cancer. We had the luxury where we were in a place where we could afford, her treatments, but not many people can. And I will never forget, I was partnered with this family who flew in from Exeter, New Hampshire. They weren't associated with the American Cancer Society. They were with the Alliance of Childhood Cancer. So they put us together. And they were talking about how they, at one point, were trying to figure out how to fund not only the drugs for their child to get treatment, but also to pay for their home.
Yeah.
Not many people realize that there are so many families in this country who have to decide between their child and living in their home. And that's something that needs to be talked about more.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is something that people can't really fully grasp unless they know someone who's gone through it or they've gone through it. Just the costs involved and how much it can affect your everyday life. Yeah, that's important. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. It's so important to have these organizations like, Gold Together through the American Cancer Society and the Alliance of Childhood Cancer. I think they need a lot more credit than they get.
Yeah. And I would say exposure too, get out there, get the word out there even more. And that. So yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Something fun to learn about you is that you are a Taylor Swift impersonator and character actor. So can you tell us more about that?
So I actually used to be a small business owner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was very involved in theater throughout elementary to high school. I was in community theater. I'm a Pinkerton alum.
Okay.
Kind of Miss Greater Derry.
That's awesome.
Little fact. And I was very involved in their theater program.
Okay.
I always loved Disney. Like, I always thought it was so cool, like, seeing all the actors. I have family who, they've been Imagineers at Disney. They've been cast members at Disney. And I was like, well, if I can't work in Florida right now at the ripe old age of 16, I might as well just, start my own little business and invest in it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I would, go to parties and community events as different princesses. I was friends a lot with Elsa, Rapunzel.
Okay.
Those were the main two.
Yeah.
And from then on, I was like, I'm getting into college. I don't really have a lot of time for this stuff anymore. But every now and then, I would, kind of hop on the princess train again. And then the Swift effect happened. I will be the first to say I'm a diehard Swiftie. I'm in the top 0.01% of listeners for her on Spotify. According to Spotify Wrapped this past year.
Yeah.
I do listen to other music, I promise.
Yeah.
But no, since the Swift effect happened, I was like, there could be some really cool opportunities out of this.
Yeah.
And I was very grateful to have incredible directors, Trish and Elaine Tidd, who also own Tagate Designs, which are one of the talent costume sponsors for Miss America.
Oh, wow.
And they actually helped me design a Taylor Swift-inspired bodysuit.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I got to go around to different events as Taylor. I still do that to this day. Like, I like to say it's dusting off the boots, the little sparkly boots.
Yeah.
But it's quite literally one of my favorite things to do.
That's so exciting. So is it like if people are having an event and they say, hey, we need some entertainment, it'd be great to get like a Taylor Swift performer, they'd kind of reach out to hire you, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. And so fun that you got to, play princesses and all of that. And just a side note, because I am also a big Disney fan, so I think it's very cool that you have family that are Imagineers and do all that stuff. So that's very exciting. You are also in a band.
I am.
My head is spinning thinking of how you manage all this, but what is it like being in a band?
It's so freaking cool. So I actually grew up watching my dad perform in bands. He had been in bands since he was 16. He grew up in Derry. He, played all over Derry. And so from a very young age, I would see him play out at different restaurants and bars with his bands. And I always thought, oh, that was so cool. The second that I showed interest, he was like, all right, every time I go to a gig, you're coming up with me to sing at least one song with me. We are getting you comfortable on that stage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And were you nervous at first, or were you just like, oh, I can't wait to do this?
Oh, it was definitely a mix of both. Like, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so hyped. Let's do this. And then I would get up on stage at like 6 years old. No, not even 5. I'd be like,
oh my gosh. Well, yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, but I bet it was great in the long term because you probably got so comfortable with being in front of crowds and performing and all of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, it inspired my love for theater, vocal performance, and, fast forward, I'm now in a band with one of my cousins and a couple of our best friends, and it's just so cool. A couple months ago, we actually got to perform at Tupelo Music Hall, which has always been a bucket list item for me because Joan Jett actually performed at Tupelo Music Hall.
I did not know that. That's so cool.
Yeah, so being able to say that you've performed on the same stage as Joan Jett, pretty freaking cool.
That is very cool. Now, what is the name of your band?
Rite of Passage.
Oh, I like that. Was that with the Jason R. Flood Memorial?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Pizza Stock, right? Yeah. I just want to mention because we had them on previously, and I just love what they do. So
I'm so grateful to Doug and Danielle. They've helped us since the beginning with getting it off the ground. Starting a band in New Hampshire, it's not as easy as you think it is.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, yes, you can be an established band, but getting your brand out there, not exactly the easiest thing, between social media, trying to get, in-person gigs, all that fun stuff. On average, it takes bands at least 3 years to become established and have local residency.
Wow. That's interesting to know because I had no idea. But now that I'm thinking about it, I would imagine it's difficult, like, say, if you want to perform at a restaurant to kind of gain the credibility for that restaurant to not be like, who are you? Why would we want you? That kind of thing. So,
exactly.
Yeah,
so it's really great that,
people
like Doug and Danielle create those opportunities for bands, no matter the age, to, get that platform, get that experience. And
that's
brought
great.
us where we are today.
Awesome. On top of everything else that you're doing, you came out with your own children's book, and I have my copy here.
So. Thank you for supporting.
Oh, you're welcome. I have a 2-year-old son, so I figured, hey, at some point it might be helpful to him. So, but I wanted to ask, what made you want to do that first off? And then what was the process like? And then lastly, could you tell us a little bit about the book?
Absolutely. So Lily and the Little Celebrations Club is actually inspired by my personal experience. I've been a caregiver to my mom. My grandmother, at a very young age for me, passed away from cancer. And I didn't really understand it at the time. And since going into the Gold Together program with the American Cancer Society and really trying to expand my brand with Celebrate Everything, I wanted to make it as accessible as possible to make sure that people of any age were able to understand that, yes, cancer exists, but it's more than just the illness. It's about supporting those who are affected by it. It's about showing up when it matters. Just like the mission of Celebrate Everything. So Lily in the Little Celebrations Club is still so freaking cool to be able to say that I have my own book out. But she was created with a pipe dream.
Okay.
So she's been something that has been in the works for 2 years now.
Okay.
I remember first writing the manuscript, I went through so many different versions of it. I wanted to make sure that, it was as accessible as possible while also appropriate for a young age. I did a lot of research with it. I tapped in some friends from the American Cancer Society. I had actually Sarah Catazzoni, former Miss Londonderry. I had her proofread it multiple times.
Oh, nice.
Since she also went through the process of publishing her own children's book. And it was actually a surprise to my mom.
Oh.
Yeah, so after I had it all set and ready to go, I remember I was on the phone with her, and she had no idea that it was happening, and I completely forgot about it. I just casually brought it up. I'm like, oh, yeah, and I, sent in my book to Amazon. She's like, what are you talking about?
Oh.
I was like, oh, yeah, surprise.
Yeah.
Your daughter's a children's author now. But, even going through the book, we wanted to make sure that it had very easy language for kids. It's really about the social emotional learning aspect. I used to be a teacher.
Okay.
Actually, I got my degree at Plymouth State University for elementary education and youth development, and I taught at Laconia for 4 years as a student teacher, and I ran their after school program. So I was, very exposed to how youth really take in information.
Okay.
So I went through Kindle Direct Publishing. They were able to lay it all out for me. I, was able to work on the art, make sure that everything was good to go. And I also added coloring pages to the back of it, so that way kids could, really take how they're feeling and just color it out afterwards. Because I think that's so important to not only have the discussions, but to also have those extra pathways to express how you feel.
Yeah. Well, I have to say I did read through it, and I loved seeing the coloring pages at the end. And then I really enjoyed the fact of that it was very noticeable. It was written toward kids and trying to help them in if they know someone going through these situations, or if they are going through this situation, what they can do, because it can probably feel very helpless and like, how can I help this individual? And I liked that you promoted, kindness and putting together a care kit and that sort of stuff for them. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's truly what the heart of Lily and the Little Celebrations Club is all about. Just like our mission, showing up when it matters most.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I did want to ask you about, where you do have so many things going on, is how do you manage your time?
I am someone who I don't like sitting still, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay.
But down the line, I want to, there are two different pathways that I'm considering. Opening up my own nonprofit that's, surrounded by people affected by cancer, or going into politics.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've always known from an early age that I was made to do good in my community. there are many different ways that you could go about it. And there are so many career pathways where you could go about it. That's why I originally wanted to be a teacher. But I realized that, that I loved working with kids, but that's not where my true passions lie.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know, it's just so interesting, being at the age of 24 going on 25, really trying to consider your options and see where you want to go. But,
Sure.
I just moved back to New Hampshire 4 months ago. I was in Massachusetts for a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I knew that, at the end of the day, New Hampshire is where my heart will always lie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, New Hampshire is where I want to grow old. It's where I want to have a family, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But all of these different side quests, as I like to call them, are to further help my community and encourage me to continue to pursue my passions.
Yeah.
Just like Lily would do.
Yeah, that's great. And I also wanted to ask, because I know you currently work for a nonprofit.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about that nonprofit and the work that you do for them?
Yes. So I currently work for Catholic Charities New Hampshire. I work at headquarters, which is so cool to say. I work in marketing now.
Okay.
So a little bit different than what I was doing before. Like I said, I'm a woman of many careers.
Yes.
I went from going to school to be a teacher to being an undergraduate admissions counselor and traveling all over New England to recruit students for Riviera University.
Okay.
To, being in stewardship at St. Anselm College, working directly with donors, to now working in marketing at Catholic Charities. I'm in charge of all of their social media.
Okay.
Which is so cool. Being able to just not actually like play on my phone all day.
Right.
But,
It is actually hard work. It's not what people might think.
Exactly. And, I help them film different ads. I actually have a meeting later today where we're going over, we have a travel museum that's going to be coming up, and we're doing a partnership with St. Anselm College.
Oh, nice.
It's called the People of Hope Museum, and it's about people who have done good in their community, and that's rooted in, their work and their love for God, which is
I
just
love
so
that idea.
incredible. Yeah. So we're going to be meeting later today on that, but yeah. It's
That's
pretty cool.
awesome. Kind of going along with the fact of you being busy, managing time, all of that. What do you do to de-stress?
There are a few different things. So I have been deemed the grandma of my group. Though I am a busy bee, I love going to bed early.
I'm with you.
8 o'clock, I am all set.
Yeah.
I also am a dog mom.
Okay.
Very proud dog mom
Aw.
to a 10-year-old Chihuahua Jack Russell named Amy.
Oh, nice.
So I really love to spend time with her, take her for walks on the beach, play around with her. Jack Russells, they have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I'm also an avid baker. I love baking.
Nice. Do you have a favorite dish that you like to make, or?
Oh,
I know it's probably hard to choose.
it's like picking a favorite child.
Right. Or one that's especially a crowd pleaser, maybe.
Oh, Pizzelli's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are those are the Italian cookies,
Yeah, the
right?
little
Okay.
Italian
Yeah.
wafer
Yeah.
cookies.
Oh,
Yeah, I
nice.
love making those with my mom and my grandma.
Oh, awesome.
And hopefully next time I go to visit, we're going to try making cannolis together.
Ooh, that
which-
sounds good.
Yeah, I used to hate cannolis, but apparently there's this thing where every 7 years your taste buds change.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So I've found a lot, especially this year, I've started being accustomed to different foods. So like
Okay.
I've started to like spicy foods, which I hated before.
Okay.
And now cannolis are
Oh,
my new
nice.
favorite thing.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I enjoy baking as well, but I wouldn't say I'm necessarily good at it, but I just enjoy doing it when I can.
You know
So-
what? As long as you have fun. It's so funny. This really shows the powerful impact teachers have. I will never forget my elementary school gym teacher, Mr. Cove, would always say, if you had fun, you won.
Oh, I love that saying.
Right?
That's awesome.
So it's something I try to live by.
Yeah, that's great. I'll keep that one with me. And then is there anything else you'd like people to know about you before I ask my few final questions?
Oh, I mean, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, I tried to, but there was a lot. I'm like, if I just do everything, we'll be here for 2 hours. So
I have a lot of content.
Yeah. But hopefully we highlighted some of the important things.
Oh,
so,
absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, then, lastly, I'd like to ask if you could share a story about someone whose life has been transformed by what you do, meaning whether that's been through your volunteer work, advocacy, whatever it may be, if you just have a story of kind of someone whose life been impacted by you.
I can think of a couple that comes to mind.
That's great.
I'll never forget one of my first couple of years doing Project Stalking before Celebrate Everything truly became the initiative it was, or is, I should say. My mom and I, we were dropping off stockings at Anna Jake's hospital, and one of the nurses came out to collect them. And, because we weren't able to go in for safety of the patients who were going through treatment. And one of the nurses just started crying. And she was like, we have a patient who recently lost her kid. And this is truly going to brighten her day and remind her that, there's truly a community here. There's a community behind you. And, there's always going to be someone who's cheering you on.
Yeah.
And it just shows, again, showing up when it matters most. It's truly important no matter the circumstance.
Yeah. That's a great example to share. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And then who should I have as my next guest? It could be another individual or a nonprofit, just as long as they're doing great positive things for their community.
I may be a little biased, but I think Catholic Charities New Hampshire would be an incredible guest.
Yeah. If you can connect me, that'd be awesome, because someone else mentioned that I should have them on as well. So I'd love to line them up as a guest. Yeah,
absolutely. We can make that happen.
Sounds good. Thank you. And then the last question, what does kindness mean to you? And can you share an example of kindness that you've experienced or witnessed? I'm sure you probably have a million, but
kindness is truly about, leaving everything at the door. It's about uplifting others. It's about being their cheerleader. Like I said earlier in this episode, you never know what's going on at home when it comes to, someone. So it's really important to show up every day with a positive mindset, encourage those around you, and, just make sure that their day is as bright as yours is going to be. Mm-hmm. It's all about the mindset and the action, or advocacy into action, as I like to say. Yeah. I'll never forget my first day at Catholic Charities. I was a little nervous, new job. I, had just moved back from Massachusetts. Life was a little overwhelming for a couple of months during, that move. And a bunch of coworkers got together and they surprised me with this big card. I still have it on my desk, full, and I mean full. You could not see the white on the card, of notes of encouragement, notes of kindness, and, welcome to Catholic Charities New Hampshire. We're so excited to have you as part of our team. They had a little goodie basket with it. And, every day, even now, when I walk through the door, everyone's just happy to see each other. Everyone checks in with each other. Even yesterday I was leaving work and my coworker, Dan, he's in the office right next to me. He, he saw me and he was like, oh, we're both remote tomorrow. But there might be the chance of a snow day. Are you going to go sledding? What are you going to do tomorrow? I'm like, oh, Dan, your guess is as good as mine, but I hope you don't have to get up and shovel at 4:30 in the morning. He was like, well, even if I do, maybe I'll go sledding.
Oh, that's cute. I love that.
So, even just those little things, it truly shows that even the smallest act of kindness can make a big impact.
It sure can. Well, thank you so much. And I should have asked earlier, but I just want to make sure before we wrap up. Is there anything in terms of Miss New Hampshire that you want to share as far as if people can get tickets, when it is, how they can participate, all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So all the information is at missnewhampshire.org.
Okay.
If people are looking to participate. Typically local competitions start in June,
Okay.
about like mid to late June, early July, and they go typically through November. There are 24 competitions in the local season for Miss and Teen. Any chance to get scholarship dollars. You know, like I said
Sure.
earlier, you don't have to win to make some money for
Right,
school.
right.
The competition is going to be in person at the Stockbridge Theater in Derry.
Okay.
Oh, Miss Greater Derry, crazy. And tickets are on sale now at
Okay.
missnewhampshire.org. And I believe it will be live streamed again this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'll be cheering you on.
Thank you. Yes, it's going to be the last week of April.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here today. You are truly inspiring to me and I'm sure many other people. And I really
you.
appreciate you speaking with us and just all the amazing things you're doing to make the world a better place.
Thank you for having me, Erin.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for watching or listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Maddy, Miss Greater Derry. I have to say, every time I do an interview like this, it just inspires me to want to do more because it just shows that you can do more. And so, yeah, she's definitely an inspiring person, very motivated as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. And as always, subscribe where you listen to podcasts so more people can find the podcast. I'd love it if you'd leave a rating and review. Follow Dose of Good Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok for all the latest on the podcast. And get out there and spread kindness, do good things, get involved in your community. Until next time.